What am I doing with my hands? Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla. I like to talk about books, reading vlogs, things like that. So if any of that interests you, then please subscribe. But today I'm going to be doing kind of my 2023 reading goals TBR breakdown that I've got so far. Because it's gonna be 2023.
Getting depressed and all that. It happens to me every year.
So, 2023, there are a few new releases that are definitely intriguing to me this year. I don't have a super long TBR because I am filming this at the end of 2022 and I am going to have a new baby. So that's probably going to bring me to my first reading goal, which is just to keep up with reading about 3 books a month, 2 to 3 books a month. That's not exactly a lofty goal for someone who likes to read, but honestly, I don't know what the time situation is gonna be like, so I'm giving myself what feels like a very approachable track to stay on, because I remember what it was like before and it was a huge shift in time management. So a second baby is going to be very different, but that's kind of my first just little bullet point reading goal that I definitely want to do, is just keep up with reading. Not even as much as I do now, just keep up as much as I can, honestly. And I'll probably be doing a lot more audiobooks. I'll probably be doing a lot more short, quick, non-fiction, fiction reads, all sorts. I'm sure it'll be a jumbled mix, but I don't know how many really long books I'm gonna crack into, because I feel like those are gonna feel just really daunting and discouraging for me. I'll do what I can to keep up with making sure that I'm still having that time for myself, but part of what's gonna excite me is some of these new releases. So I'm gonna go through a couple of the new releases that I'm very excited for in 2023. The first book is a new Harlan Coben release, and I've read a few of his books in the past. I am not like a stan or anything like that. I definitely have not read enough to be like a proper fan, but he does have a new release and it's a standalone book. So it's not part of a series. It's not part of like the Win series or anything like that. It's a standalone book called I Will Find You, and apparently it comes out in March, and I'm very excited for this because the concept, the premise, it sounds pretty good. I'll just read the jacket cover synopsis, and it says, an innocent father serving a life sentence for the murder of his own son must break out of prison to uncover the truth. Honestly, already a great premise. Would love to see it as a movie in 1995 starring Harrison Ford. I'm thinking Fugitive vibes. It gives me that. It gives me that flavor. So very excited for that. I think that the thing that he basically discovers is that his child might not even actually be dead somehow. I don't know. I'm not sure. It just sounds intriguing. And I feel like Harlan Coben is pretty good with the fast-paced, kind of likable protagonist. And personally, I love a complex protagonist, but I feel like this is one where you just want like maybe the likable dad who is wrongfully in jail. So very excited to read this. Probably will do a review on it, but we'll see how I feel about it. The next book that I'm very excited to read in 2023 that is coming out next year is called All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Williamson. Let's get on Goodreads and read this synopsis. 1 year ago, Isabel Drake's life changed forever. Her toddler son was taken out of his crib in the middle of the night while she and her husband were asleep. And I don't know all of the details of this, but right away sounds like a pretty gripping premise. I think she's gonna figure out what happened. Something that I'm gonna have to keep in mind, like postpartum with the babies and everything. So we'll see if I get to reading this when it's released, or if I have to wait until later in the year, because it sounds like a great premise, but if I'm too emotional, I probably won't be able to read it. I made that mistake last time I had a baby, and I just read a book that probably should have had more warnings about it, but you know, emotionally, everybody thinks you're fragile during pregnancy, but really postpartum is, you have to be careful what you read. But like I said, this sounds like a great premise if I'm in the right emotional headspace mindset. Very much want to read it. Not familiar with this author, but I saw that premise on Goodreads and I was like, you got me. The next book I'm really excited for that's being released in 2023 is called The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. And this to me feels like kind of my recipe for a good thriller mystery is probably number one for me personally is like the setting and the descriptions. I mean the whole thing, but like if you have a good setting, you can pull me in pretty easily. So I'm very excited for this because from the title, it takes place at a writing retreat, which is like actually a very, very great place for it's really funny. I wonder if like she went to a writing retreat and got this idea, but it's like a great idea for where to set kind of like a thriller mystery type book. Again, I will read kind of the jacket cover synopsis, but even just the cover of this book and like I said, that setting, it gives me a little bit of a Lucy Foley vibe, and I'm becoming like a pretty decent fan of Lucy Foley. I like her books, so I'm interested in this if it's even in that same vein. But apparently it's about a woman who has all but given up on her dreams of becoming a published author when she gets this opportunity to attend a really exclusive writing retreat, and it's hosted by like a feminist horror writer. Already great concept. And apparently her like former best friend is gonna be there. Part of the writing retreat is that they all have to complete a novel from scratch within the next month. It's like very intensive, and the place that they are at the writing retreat is supposedly a haunted place, and so there's just a few elements that seem to me like they'll come together to make a very intriguing story. All it needs is like even some halfway decent descriptions to like pull me in. So, you know, I'm interested. It's been called a claustrophobic and propulsive thriller exploring the dark side of female friendships. Tell me you don't want to read that book after that description. So that's probably the next book I'm really excited to read. I've also heard rumors swirling around, and we don't know when this will be completed, but that Stephen King is going to be releasing a book called Holly, possible new release about Detective Holly. It's not like an official release date, it's nothing official, but given how quickly he turns books over, I don't think it's unheard of that we could get it at the end of 2023. I'm not getting my hopes up, but I'm just saying like I think that it is possible. So those are some of my 2023 TBR new releases. Like I said, I don't have a super long TBR though because I will have a new baby. So we're gonna see how much I even have as far as free time goes. Another goal that I have for the year of 2023 though is to, gosh, this sounds so lofty now that I'm thinking about like a new baby and everything, but another goal I have for 2023 is to write a book. I feel like I should add that I have already written the bulk of the book and I've even started some of the illustrations. I just took a huge break because 2022 has just been like a very difficult year for me personally. I won't go into the details, but I lost my dad this year, so I just have not gotten around to this as a thing that I'm working on. But a huge goal for me in 2023 is to get back to work on it. It's a children's book, so it's not something it's just something that's like a passion project that I would really love to complete, especially with a second baby coming. I've always wanted to write a children's book. The idea came to me when I had my first daughter, so it's something that would be just kind of like a personal goal, something I've always wanted to accomplish, always wanted to complete, and I would love to work on it and have it somewhat completed by the end of 2023. So that's kind of like a reading adjacent goal. It's a writing goal. I'm not like a writer, but it's like, I guess it's a writing goal / illustration goal, which is funny because I'm not really an artist either, but this is okay. I'm not a writer, I'm not an artist, but I'm gonna write an illustrator book. That sounds kind of absurd when I say it out loud, but these are some of my goals for 2023. I would love to hear some of your TBR, like the books you're excited for in 2023, some of the books you want to read, whether or not they're new releases, some of if you have your own personal reading or writing goals. Please leave them in the comments below, and that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later.
Getting depressed and all that happens to me every year.